Oh, these kids, they give you the bird, and I don't think there's any ill intention in it. I just don't think they know what they're giving you. This is a sign that they've seen Westerners give so often that they've decided, well, that's what we'll do. We'll give them the bird. So every so often, one of these little things comes to greet you, and they give you the bird. Well, today is our second to last day. We're just leaving Mai Chao, and we're heading to a place called Ngialao. Ngialao is about 220 kilometers away, and yeah, 220 kilometers away, over a mountain, across a ferry, and that's about it. And we get to Ngialao, which is apparently a town about the size of Kaisan. So it's got some restaurants, and I don't know what the hotel's going to be like. Of course, that's always a bit of a crapshoot when it comes to what the hotels are like. It's a bit overcast-ish, well, not overcast. Let's put it. It's just the haze, the haze of vapor in the air, of moisture, or whatever it is, and so. But that's always good if you're not sitting in the direct sunlight, because boy, that is something. When the sun's out, you just want to get out of the direct light. So it's great to be out. It really is. This is you kind of. This sounds a little sentimental for me, I know, but you kind of fall in love with the place in a way. Of course, I wouldn't want to be living here. That's a whole different scenario. But to travel through it, to tour it, is just magical. And the people are just awesome. They really are. Super welcoming and friendly. So, yeah, it just adds so much to the experience. It's one of those trips. I wouldn't mind like doing it independently, now that you know I've got to understand the culture, the traffic, the way everything works. Yeah, that would be really nice. I don't think I ever will, but it's one of those things where you think, oh, now I could do this independently in a smaller group, 2 or 3 guys, and do this trip. Would be fantastic. Where you can also, every so often, we see a little dirt road head up somewhere. So to do it on a small adventure bike, a 250 or something like that, would be awesome. Absolutely awesome. But that doesn't take away from this trip at all. It's a big group, mixed riding skills and ability, some personalities that you'd sooner avoid, and we do. So they haven't made the experience unbearable at all. You just avoid them and get on with making the most of this opportunity to be out here. Oh, nearly met with a bus there. I gotta say though, they got good horns on their big vehicles. My God, they can make a noise. And they'll kind of sneak up on you, behind you sometimes, coming to overtake, because sometimes we're doing this kind of thing. And they'll sneak up kind of behind you, or alongside you, and blow that horn. It's a wake-up call of note if you haven't picked them in your rearview mirror. But it's not like aggressive. It's just, hey, I'm here, pay attention. And it gets your attention, that's for sure. Yeah, yesterday she was I don't know what that was up there. Looks like a massive landslide. My God, that's incredible. I don't know what that's from. But it's not old, because it's, it's not, there's no vegetation on it whatsoever. But it looks like that entire hillside has just come away. Wow. That must have been something. I can't see what's at the bottom of it. Wow. Wow. That must have been something. Must really have been something. Well, this is quite a busy town we're riding through. Apparently this just gets busier and busier the closer we get to Hanoi, but I think we got a bit of countryside to get through before then. But yeah, this is a busy little place. A beautiful valley up ahead that we're riding toward. This town nestled in the mountain, the valley here. We're veering off the main drag now, which is exactly what TT said. We've done 50 kilometers, and he said after 50 kilometers we'll be on the back roads and it'll get a bit gnarly. He didn't use that exact term, but that's what I interpreted, and it's already gnarly. Yeah, sure is. Oh yeah. This is when you wish for a bike with a bit more suspension travel than this offers up. And the ability to stand up on the pegs. These footboards are placed forward on the bike, and the tank has got this kind of wide sort of bullet shape to it, or teardrop shape, let's put it that way, which prevents you standing up and gripping the tank between your legs, because that's the way you'd normally do it on on any other motorcycle. That you had foot pegs placed more sort of underneath you. You could then at least stand up and ride these jarring bumps out, but that's not an option on this bike. So you just got to sit them out, deal with them. You just got to be patient and safe. Yeah, if I dumped this thing here, it would hurt. It would hurt in most situations, but with all these sharp, jagged pothole kind of things, you don't want to be coming down with no protective gear on like I'm riding. So I'll just take it easy. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, this is a dirt road just with concrete potholes. We've had a bit of a rest stop, and we're on the road again. High up in this valley, well, not high up in this, with this deep valley to the right of us. Oh, you won't believe it. After all of that, I didn't get Alan explaining that how the roads work here. There's one of the crew, well, no names, no pactoral, shouted out, "Keep to your side of the road!" And Alan and I were just commenting that there is no your side of the road. You take whatever part of the road you need, and that's the way it works, and it works here. And if something's coming towards you and that needs space, it's going to come over into your lane, and that's basically it. But look at this road here. It's just winding its way down the valley. We're going to follow that all the way down, I reckon.
Recording.
So we just stopped here just to look down this valley, which is beautiful. Have a little bit of a leg stretch, and a little scooter's coming up here with two young kids on. And what does Ivan Milat do? He runs out, walks out on the road, and like balks him as if he's going to walk in front of them. Like, ha ha ha. Meantime, there's a big ditch going up the side here, a big rain ditch. And you imagine if these kids had really spooked, ridden off into that, and one of them died because neither of them had helmets on. I swear to God, I would have been the first one to say I saw exactly what happened, and this arsehole deserves whatever comes his way. What an absolute fucking moron. What an idiot of a human being this man is. He's always trying to prove his alpha manhood, you know. Anyway, enough of my whinging. Been enough of that too. I'd call them observations. Observations and insights into how not to behave in someone else's country when you've come here specifically to experience the place with all its flaws and foibles. You know, if you want the meekness, and I can only use that term for Australia, of Australian culture, feeble meekness, stay in Australia. These places are not for you. They're too challenging for your little minds. Stay there. There's a potent downhill section. There's a hill for you. Jeez. Wouldn't mind trying to climb that on a bike. I just spoke like I would actually give it a go. No, I wouldn't. Not at this age. 20 years ago, I wouldn't have hesitated. 20 years ago, I was 48. My God. 20 years ago. I can't believe that even. Alan is about to have his beauty treatment at our rest stop for the morning. Well, I'll tell you what, you don't have this experience many times in your life, Alan.
Never before.
Now my turn.
I'm now entertaining the troops.
Oh, geez, you're gonna have to fight the girls off, Alan. I can tell already.
I bet you that I'm the only person in Vermont who has ever had a shaved head.
I reckon you're right on that one. Yeah. A Vermontaneer.
I'm going to go a step
What are you?
further.
Are you a Vermontaneer?
A Vermonster.
A Vermonster.
I'm going to go a step further. I'd be willing to bet that not only am I the first person in Vermont to have a haircut here, I'm probably the only person who will ever be from Vermont who gets a haircut here.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the odds are on my favor.
I think they definitely are. I think you could even include the whole East Coast.
You know, you're probably right.
Recording.
There's a little piglet in in this basket. For the most part, I don't think they care too much about animals. You wouldn't want to be an animal here at all. Not even so much a dog, especially not a bitch dog, because they're not spayed and all they do is produce litter after litter after litter. Some buffalo, and that's it. They just tether them to the side of the road, and it makes you think, how long are they there for without anything to graze or water, sometimes even shade. Yeah, animal welfare is not a priority here. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, there's probably 10 pigs in this thing. So just ahead of us now, we're coming to this this lake. I've no idea what it's called. Could be a man-made lake of some description. But I believe, well, I think this is where we put the bikes on a ferry and cross this body of water. Definitely, this is the ferry, and it's very much like the ferries we cross, like the I don't know what gear I'm in or not in here. Okay, very much like the ferry we use across the Hawkesbury River at Wiseman's Ferry, that kind of thing. So Big Bad Roy up ahead here has done what we've all done, so I'm not laughing at him, I'm just laughing with him. He missed some gears and then he went hooking through the gearbox, fishing for a gear that was going to find some drive, and the motor's screaming underneath him. We've all done it. There was an example of a vehicle that just moved over into this lane to pass that other vehicle, regardless of the fact that we were approaching. It doesn't really matter. They just move over, and you better get out of their way. There we go. There's a horn for you. Well, school's out. That's what's coming out on the left here. And it's just fantastic. Julie's taking the gap. This dude on a bicycle. And here we are, Lamlop. Dropped off for us. That's a bamboo shoot, and these are pieces of dried pork that I think had been refried. They're quite smoky. Yeah. The chicken foot I've eaten, I think, about as much as I can. This is very much like when I ordered what I thought were beef tenders in Ho Chi Minh City, and they turned out to be beef tendons, and those were very chewy. So are the toes of the chicken. A bit of skin on them. Which is tasty enough, but inside is just tendons, as one would expect in a chicken split. There's no meat. A good piece, a really good piece. They do the microphones. Now I'm just going to check here. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Good?
Very good.
Good. Hi. Fantastic. We'll get 2 more. Yes. 2 beers. Yeah, 2. Thank you.
2 bia đi, 2 bia 12.
I love that.
Ở đây nói
Em giao lưu đi.
Not that way, that way.
nước ngọt à? Không cho bia đâu.
That way good, that way bad.
You know, while we're riding out of whatever this place is, I'm struggling with all the names of the places. I'll put it below. Anyway, we're on our way to Hanoi, and I think that's going to be an experience of its own riding into Hanoi. I think it's one of the busiest cities. Well, if Ho Chi Minh City was anything to go by, and it's got a larger population than Hanoi, but it might not be as frenetic. It sounds like Hanoi is pretty frenetic from a traffic point of view. We got about 200 kilometers to do today, and it's going to take us most of the day. Kind of mixed feelings about this ride coming to an end, as I normally have at the end of rides. It's been such an experience in so many ways. I think one is I've never done a tour in a group that is so tight all the way as this group. Now, when we did Mongolia, we were just basically given waypoints and said, look, we'll all meet up at this waypoint. And everyone did their own thing, found their own way to that particular waypoint, and then it was the next one. And in some ways, the waypoints were disastrous because they were poorly selected. But the process worked quite well because we were traveling with sat-navs. The opportunities to get lost were quite, there weren't that many, unless we got into the cities, and we did get lost in the cities a few times, like Veliki Luki, Samara, even Ulaanbaatar, where we ended. It was chaos. So, and Almaty, there was another one where we all got lost, couldn't find our hotel. So it wasn't without its problems, but you at least we'd ride in small groups, the 4 Aussies or even smaller sometimes, all depending. And but this is quite different. We've got right here in front of me is Big Bad Roy, and and he's following as close as he can get to whoever's up front of him, where there's a bit of a gap now. But yeah, it's different riding, and I've never ridden like this before, and one might argue that it takes away from the enjoyment. But I think in this kind of environment, it's almost essential. So, in a group of this size, let's put it that way, the group's too big, to be honest. It's not that we didn't, that we missed out on anything, because the tour guides, the guys who are riding with us from Vietnam motorbike tours are just fantastic. So, this is no criticism of them. It's more just the group size, and then the personalities that you get when you're riding in bigger groups. There's always the arseholes that you have to contend with. So, but they haven't taken away from my enjoyment of the trip. It's just an observation more than anything else. I tend to just ignore them. And get on with my day. There's a lot of other nice people on the trip, so it has, as I say, it hasn't taken anything away from my enjoyment. And then, and then you have people, obviously, of different riding experience, skill level, and how they want to ride. Everyone rides slightly differently, so you've got to deal with that. The Aussies that I ride with in our adventure motorcycle group, we all ride you know, very similar. At a similar, the same pace. We keep the same distances between us. And all basically have the same abilities when it comes to off-road surfaces, gravel surfaces, and all that kind of stuff. So you can ride with a lot of confidence when you're in that kind of a mix. Whereas the Mongolia ride wasn't the case. We had some people who had, much to my surprise, zero off-road experience coming onto a ride where 50% of it was basically beating it out along gravel, rutted dirt roads, soft sand, you name it. And they did struggle. But like I said, we were all kind of dispersed. So, you know, it wasn't an issue for us really, other than just hearing about the odd one coming down every so often. Yeah. So, as they say in the classics, fluit, my story is uit. Anyway, this is one of these Highland taxis, just one version of it. It's got a slight leak, Lyndon, and that's the exhaust. No wonder they make so much noise. I'd say.
She's a fair-sized slugger now, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a donker, right? Yeah. And it's just, look at this diesel just running out of it underneath there. I tell you, it's amazing. Steering a bit sloppy for you, Lyndon. So this is the machine that churns the plywood out, and that lady there is kind of like a sorter. She just takes the bad bits, puts them to one side, and then the good bits come up here, get stacked and go off to dry. And then the finished poles at the end go there, and they go to make broomsticks and pick handles or hoe handles or whatever it is. And they get loaded there, they're getting loaded into that truck. Quite amazing. So TT was just telling us that here in Vietnam it's illegal to make any modifications to a vehicle. It's got to be kept in its original. You can't even put like a bull barn on the front of it without a permit and permission to do that. So apparently some guys have tried to turn motorcycles into cafe races. That's illegal. So everything's got to be original, otherwise they'll get pulled over. Now, this is cinnamon. So this is a cinnamon tree. That's a cinnamon tree. This is a pretty young one, pretty young cinnamon tree. And obviously they're grown specifically for their bark, and that's where the value is. But once they remove the bark from the tree, that's it, it dies. So they have to keep replanting these trees. But this is a young one, and they've just taken a little square out so we can try it. Very, very strong cinnamon flavor when it's still wet bark like that. It's got quite a bite to it. Very nice though. So yeah. Well, we're back on the road again after our stop at the plywood factory. So what happens with this plywood, what we see drying on the side here, is the locals will collect it from the factory, and they will put it out to dry on the side of the road or wherever they've got space to dry it. And once it's dried, they take it back to the factory and they get paid for that. So they get paid for drying it. That's their form of income, or one of their forms of income, is drying the plywood, because they don't have the space at the factory to dry it. So all of these piles that you see along here are being dried by just the villagers. Although that looks more commercial to me. It might be another whole operation, but so the truck that was at the plywood factory being loaded up, there's just a local that's collecting his share to go and place out and dry, like you see on the side here, and you get paid for that. Don't know how much they get paid, but they get paid for it. We're still very much in the country. Rice paddies, up on the hill slopes there's tea plantations. I don't think we're going to get much more of it as we get closer to Hanoi. Just trying to see what we've done. We've probably done 100 kilometers, I'm guessing. We've got about another 100 to go. They got serious horns on these trucks. I'd love to get one. They also just 12 volts, but I think they would take up half my postie bike. I'd just love to have one on my postie bike. I'll probably get ripped off the road by the cops the first time I used it, but it would be such a bonus. Now you see this girl, this helmet that she's wearing. I reckon there's a business opportunity for me in Australia, especially the eastern suburbs, with those helmets. I'll try and get a better shot of one, but they've got a cutout on the back for the girls' ponytails to kind of fit into, so that they can put a helmet on and wear a ponytail. So I reckon there's a big opportunity to import those helmets into Australia for the eastern suburb man bun metrosexual population, so that they can keep their ponytails and man buns in place and still put a helmet on. I think that's a win. I absolutely think that'll be a win. Look, they would never be regarded as legal in Australia for anything other than the metrosexuals, the metrosexual man bunners to wear on their electric stand-up scooties, their e-bikes, and of course those that have Segways, which you don't see much of, but I'm sure there's a Segway community that this would appeal to. Really mixed feelings about this trip coming to an end. I'm going to be very keen to get home to our luxury living in Australia. It really is compared to what we encounter here. See how this truck just takes up, he just comes on over, and you've got to know they're going to do that. I'd imagine Ivan Milat goes ballistic when they do that. But but that's what they do, you know, that's how they drive. Otherwise they'd never pass anything here. You've got to give them, you know, at least the space and the latitude to ride past something.
Ready, 1, 2, 3, bang!
Jeez, I hope she keeps her fingers out of the way. Yo! Yo! She's still got all the digits too. I know. There's the finished.
Chặt nữa. Bác nào chặt nữa không ạ? Ice coffee over here. Ice coffee? Yes. Có bác nào chặt nữa không để em chặt nốt?
So all these sort of coffee shops and tea shops and all that, they're very nice. They've all got hammocks that you know, you can utilize when you spend time there, have a coffee, have a drink. They've got these hammocks that are out, so it's fantastic. Hammocks and tiny chairs. Well, there you go. You got to be quick on the withdraw here. When you stick your nose out into the traffic, you never know what's coming around the corner. And there was a case in point. So anyway. Okay, what are these? What is she doing? What is she doing? What is she doing? There we go. The truck coming through and he's letting everybody know. So today we're not riding our bikes to the hotel. We're riding them to Vietnam Motorbike Tours storage facility in Hanoi. and they're going to ready them all for the next couple of tours that are happening to the north of here. They've got 2 10-day tours coming up, one with 25 people, for God's sake, that is huge, and the next one with 7, which would be my preference, that's for sure. So they'll ready the bikes for that. They've got 4 days before that happens. Oh. Have a look at this. All these trees on his bike. It doesn't matter what they're going to sell. They'll put it on. There's another one with bougainvilleas. So obviously there's a nursery on the right here, and then these are deliveries from the nursery going out. Oh, this is the best. These people, they got guts to get on a bike and ride it like that in this traffic. My God. I think this might be a Highland taxi. I hope so. Yes. Oh, they're so cool. Well, I'm not sure if it was the chicken feet or the prawn or the pork or beef that had been standing out in the tropical climate for the day before I enjoyed them last night at our little street food restaurant. But they're inching their way forward, that's for sure. Something's inching its way forward, and I've got to keep very tight control over things. I don't feel ill or anything like that, but yeah. I'm amazed that I lasted this long on the trip, to be honest, before I got a bit of that going on. Let's not be too descriptive about it. And this isn't bad at all. I mean, this is just some additional movement that I hadn't bargained on. Let's put it that way. And this bumpy road just puts things to the test a little bit. That's all. Feel fine. Oh. Oh, God, Sam, a good one there. Oh, I got him a good one. He was right up next to me when I hit that water. I got it up the back of my legs too. So he wasn't the only one.
Now I haven't been sure with this. It's supposed to be a bliss, being alone, being free in every way. Didn't know what I like the feel of it, putting out what you had lit. But let me tell you, these things don't hurt a bit. Cause you see, I was all wrapped up in everything. But now that I'm out, I got wind under my wings. So tell me that you
Alan missed a few gears there. He got a bit of a panic trying to kick through the gears to get around. These are shitty gearboxes once you get them out of sync, because they just keep going around and around, and I could see the panic in his kicking action going on there. This is genuinely something that is, I find it quite thrilling in its obscure kind of way, and such a fitting end to this ride of ours, that we end up in this total chaos and bedlam, fighting our way through the traffic. Look at this here. And we think we're having a difficult time tackling the traffic. He's loaded up like that, no problem. This is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. There's a dead pig on the back of that bike. we might be out of the thick of it now. I think this might be the end of our ride.
Isn't that what they do when they jump all around? No, the car thing. You don't know what to jump all around. Then they do it again. And then they do it, they go, how are we going to get back? The coppers stole all the cars, remember? Yeah. Those competitions, how are we going to get back?
And here's our crew. Look at this lot. These, I need the good looking ones.
I'm the boss.
You're the boss of him.
We'll go home tomorrow. No, hey, my love.
Cheers, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Great ride. There you go, Lamb. Last shot for Lamb. So we're heading to find a place called Bia 45 down the street in Hanoi that our hotel is in. Do I trust Sam's directions? This chow steak, not a good thing. Oh, this might be a one-way street. Ah, that helps. That helps. Gujarat. There's an Indian restaurant there, London. But there's nothing like come and take my wallet shirt. Well, this is very different to where we were last night. Look at that street down there. So this is the old quarter of Hanoi. All these chairs are so little and low. They struggle for us regular sized people. Look at these little stools they sit on.
Don't we have to turn left?
Yeah.
Does anybody have a phone that works? It's like it works. So you have to